Hi, my name is Teresa Micheletti, and this site is called Take What Rings True. So take what rings true and let the rest go. And this is a portal for spiritual thoughts. Today, I'm going to be talking about aliens, aliens among us. Aliens are entities, beings that can come to Earth, can stay on their own planet, and have better transportation than we do. Spirit guides tell us that Earth was colonized by people from different planets, beings from 4 different planets. For example, the Watusi people originally came from Andromeda. Another planet sent what we call pygmies. So those two are easy to identify. Earth was a difficult place to colonize because there's lots of deserts and there's unusable ocean water. Of course, it's used just fine by ocean animals, but I'm talking about water to drink, fresh water for crops. So, some people, some tribes do know that they came from outer space. The Dogon tribe in Africa know they came from the Dog Star. This tribe was very isolated for years and has always related their history orally, telling stories about the Dog Star and Ceres. This tribe and other tribes like them kept their knowledge of the past and would take days to tell the history of their people, their original people. So they would go back to the origins of how their tribe started and then tell the history of the tribe all the way to the present. Many of us on Earth have had lifetimes on other planets. We just don't remember them because there's a veil, a film, a screen between us and the other side. And we come to Earth to experience without the knowledge that we have from all of our lifetimes, whether they be on Earth or another planet. I know I have lived in Andromeda and Crab Nebula, so I could be considered an alien too. I don't remember it, but in hypnosis and when Sylvia Brown did a reading on me, she told me that I had been to those 2 places. Aliens have been on Earth many times to help. At one point, spirit guides tell us they came to repair the holes in the ozone layer, but that didn't work. They were trying to knit it up for us. There are many ancient cultural maps, accurate maps, that show the Earth or parts of the Earth accurately. One during the Ice Age over Greenland, and the Greenland's landmass was not evident unless you could see through the ice. Another showing parts of Alaska that were underwater at the time the map was made. And people believe that those maps were made by aliens because they had some kind of technology that would allow them to see the continents completely, the island masses completely, the land masses completely. Aliens have helped us in the past. Francine, a spirit guide who would teach us in trance classes, told us about her Aztec Inca life, where aliens regularly came to help. And they would help by adjusting soil for crops and helping with building. They brought devices that could make things float, an anti-gravity device. And that's how the pyramids were made. Lasers would cut the stones for the pyramid so they were exactly matched and were completely flat. And many of those buildings were made without any glue of any kind. Aliens regularly landed in the same locations. So if you go to areas next to pyramids, you can also always find or often find a great circular depression. And sometimes you can even see leftovers of the ash kind of thing that would indicate that something had been there. And Francine said it was evidence of a spaceship landing. And sometimes they left their devices behind. There have been a clock that was found with gears that people used to tell time. There was a device that was found that was used by aliens to move things, but we didn't know how to use them as human beings at this point in time because we've negated any memory of aliens coming to Earth. Francine said most aliens come and look like humans. They don't have those eyes and the big head. That is a spaceship or a space outfit. She said that those eyes are much like if we took a picture of our astronauts in those great big helmets with a mirror face, which is really the window they see through, people would think those were aliens if some planet person from another planet saw them and didn't realize what they were. If you go to Peru, there are signs that say UFOs that way because UFOs land so often in Peru. In Death Valley, many spaceships land. In rural areas, many spaceships land. When I was in church one time, an alien came to church, and I didn't realize till later that, thinking back, that person's hair, being's hair, had like Brillo consistency, you know, a Brillo pad that you scrub with, and they shuffled when they walked. I remember thinking at the time, oh, that person must have some kind of injury onto their leg or something. But Francine told us in a trance class right after that that aliens had been at church and that they come to check and see what we're doing. When I was in Las Vegas, a pilot told me that every morning a certain number of planes or helicopters take off and go to area, is it 51, where people believe that a spaceship had landed. And there really is a center there that has aliens. I don't know if they're alive or not alive, but I also had a student whose relative worked there and was sworn to secrecy. Often people in the US are sworn to secrecy. My uncle was a pilot for TWA, and he was told not to talk about the UFOs he saw while he was flying planes. Otherwise, he would lose his retirement money. So he didn't tell the general public about it at all. In trance class one night, excuse me, in trance class one night, we were given information about who to ask for as a go-between us and aliens to connect with them. And I couldn't find that trance, but that was like 20 years ago, so I'm sure it's not the same go-between anymore. But one classmate did regularly connect with aliens and got infusion, mental messages from them, and asked for help from them often. Another classmate who would go to trance classes was on a rural road and lost 2 or 3 hours of time. She knew how long it took to get from point A to point B, and she lost hours. And she believes that she had contact with an alien, although she didn't remember. But still, these things happen a lot. There are also pathways that transport beings in spaceships that we no longer use. If you went to Stonehenge, between the pillars, between the stones, there were lintels on top like a doorway, and each doorway could take you to a different galaxy if you knew how to use it. There's also one near Bimini. There's a pathway that we used to use in the olden days to go from Earth to another galaxy. But we don't know how to do that. But that's the Bermuda Triangle, where people get caught in that pathway and then they don't know how to get out. But spirits from the other side can help them get out eventually. So there are pathways, we just don't know how to use them. There are also the crop circles. And crop circles, the real ones, not the ones made by students, the crop circles are either maps of how to get to that location in the galaxy where the aliens who created the crop circle live. So you can look at it. It's also sometimes musical notes, which also give information about how to contact or how to get to or see where the aliens live. Now, aliens are not coming and being out in the open right now because we still have people like SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I was at a conference once, and the conference also had people from SETI there at a different conference. So when we ate, we often ate together. And the SETI person I was sitting next to explained if a alien landed in his backyard, he would kill it and dissect it. Well, since aliens don't want to be killed and dissected, they're not showing themselves right now until it's more comfortable for them to be here without being harmed. Not to say that all aliens are wonderful people, just like human beings on Earth. Some are not kind, but for the most part, aliens came to Earth to help in many instances. Quetzalcoatl, I think that's how you say it, was an alien who would come and go to the area in Mexico. And he was really a mystical traveler coming from the planet Nuvo, which is a highly advanced planet. And often people from that, beings from that planet, will come and do a special mission, help people in some way. There are mystical travelers on Earth right now. I know I'm a mystical traveler, but I don't remember being on Nuvo. But I came to Earth as a regular being. I was born, I was a baby, I grew up, I went to elementary school. Quetzalcoatl did not do that. He came as an adult and come to Earth and then go back. Francine explained about a worldwide celebrity speaker who's really an alien among us. And if you want to know who that person is, you can contact me personally. I don't want to make it public right now. The libraries of Alexandria, which were burned, had books about interactions with early cultures. So there was evidence, but it was burned. If you want to see that evidence, you can go to the other side and access those books. As I've talked about on another broadcast where I was talking about halls and temples on the other side that help us. So there are many spaceships that land. When I was in Las Vegas this summer, one of my friends showed a picture of a spaceship. Let me see if I can bring that up. We'll see if it will allow me to show you. Show and stream. Nope. Anyway, it was a cloud around a spaceship. And often you can see clouds that look like they might be spaceships. When I was in Las Vegas this last summer, there were lots and lots of clouds and rainstorms for 3 days. And one person said that they'd seen a cloud that looked like a spaceship. But when I was with some spiritual people sitting at dinner, all of a sudden I could see through the veil. Some of you know that I can see through the veil, and I can often see people's guides when I'm quiet or when I'm around spiritual people. Well, this time I was seeing through the veil, and I could see different kinds of aliens. I saw some that looked like humans, but I also saw one that was blue and was smaller. I saw different kinds of aliens. They looked different. And just recently, I was at a spiritual conference and I was able to see through the veil, and there were aliens among us. One of them was like the what do you call that? Fifth Element. If you watch the movie The Fifth Element, then you might have seen the person who was singing, who had one of the elements within her. And this light is really weird right now. One of the elements within her, and she was singing, and she had smooth skin, but it looked more like a squid. It had appendages coming down from her head. Well, that's the alien that I saw recently, but it was like a tan color and had appendages on their head. Another alien looked more like it had a head of a mop, the long strings on a mop, but thicker. Another one I talked about the other day looked like it was bones, but if you took a picket fence and took those white pickets and made it into a shape of a person, the bones of a person, that's what this looked like. It was like an invisible body, and you could see through to see the bones. But my very favorite was like an ambassador from Star Trek. If you watch Star Trek, often the ambassadors had very fancy, regal clothing. Well, this alien had a cloak that was very simple, just went down to the ground, and it was a dark, dark blue with purple iridescence on it and a hat. Very regal looking. Anyway, sometimes I can see through the veil and see aliens. You can believe that or not believe it. Take what rings true to you. Fine with me. But there are aliens among us. And if you're really interested in seeing them or communicating with them, then tell your spirit guide. Talk to your spirit guide about it. And tell them that you would like to have an experience with aliens. So, aliens, I believe the aliens that I just saw were around to help bring thoughts of hope, peace, and trust. And I think this is the time in the earth where we are transitioning to try to get to a time of peace. I know Sylvia Brown said that there would be a time of peace starting in about 2050, but I think it could come sooner. So, if you've been paying attention to government releases, which didn't get much news, in 2020, the government started releasing videos of UFOs and documents about UFOs. So there really are pictures out there from the government showing UFOs. So you might want to check that out. Look on the news or look on Google. So Google it. UFO videos. So I today would like you to think about sending out a bubble to everyone in the world and think of what you would like to go out. Do you want love to go out? Do you want to have a bubble of peace go out to everyone? Do you want a bubble of trust to go out to everyone? Do you want a bubble of hope to go out to everyone? Today, I would like to send out hope to everyone in the world. And if it's somebody that doesn't want that hope, it will go to the next person who does want it. But let's start sending out positive thoughts to people and just let them get a glimmer of positivity. So if you could do that today and any day you can think of, or set a time each day to send out a bubble of positive thoughts. So today I'm going to send out hope to everyone and hope that glimmer gets to people and they feel better and start treating each other with kindness and the feeling of trust, and maybe you can move towards peace. So that's my wish for today. So thanks for joining me. And remember, I'm probably an alien too, because I know I've had lives on other planets, even though I came to Earth the normal way of being born and having a childhood and all that. But you never know. if there's someone who is around you that could be an alien. The ones I've encountered have not been hurtful, they have not been mean, but they have been around. So look out for aliens. Thanks for joining me. If you want to see other videos from this series, you can go to YouTube, Take What Rings True, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.